some soul food.
She's just a girl and she's on fire, hotter than a fantasy, lonely like a highway. She's living in a world and it's on fire, filled with catastrophe, but she knows she can fly away. Oh, she got both feet on the ground and she's burning it down. Oh, she got her head in the clouds and she's not backing down. This girl is on fire.
KBLA Talk 1580. If you watched the Oscars or you did not watch the Oscars, you probably heard by now that Misty Copeland, the American Ballet Theatre dancer, she was a principal dancer there, who recently retired, performed. She performed as part of the Sinners presentation, the Sinners dance, music, blues, ancestral kind of vibe. If you saw Sinners, you know that scene. It was an iconic scene. And they added dancer Misty Copeland, which was lovely. She danced in Timothy Chalamet's face after he said no one cares about ballet and opera, angering ballerinas and opera people and their fans all over the globe, and possibly leading to his not getting an Oscar. Who knows? I'm going to go with Michael B. Jordan got the Oscar because he deserved the Oscar. But in any case, Misty Copeland was the first African American to be promoted to principal dancer in the 75-year history of the American Ballet Theatre. It's a big, big deal. Beautiful dancer, a prodigy, and she just had hip replacement surgery. So for her to dance like that just months after that shows the kind of athleticism and grit that all of us, I know I wish I had it. Anyway, it reminded me of the conversation that I had with her. I'm live on TikTok right now because I want to reprise this conversation with Misty Copeland. It's been some time, but her journey was a great convo, and I want to share it with you. And I'm going to stay talking behind the scenes. So if you want to tap into me, with me, Dominique DePrimo on TikTok, we will keep streaming all throughout this conversation. I'll see you over there. And what an honor to speak with Misty Copeland. Misty Copeland, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm so pleased to meet you. Wow. It's really an honor.
Thank you. I'm so honored to be on the show as well. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I mean, I wanted to start at the top. That's why I played Girl on Fire. I mean, you have, you have really scaled to heights that many of us never even imagined possible for any woman, let alone a Black woman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not been what I imagined my life would be. I think about, I grew up in Los Angeles. I grew up in many neighborhoods in the community. And, being one of 6 children, my mother was a single parent, and there was just a lot of instability, inconsistency. We didn't always have a house, not just a house, a home. We didn't have a place to live a lot of my childhood. So my dreams and goals were kind of non-existent. I was trying to fit in at school. I was trying to not be seen and not be heard. So this is so far from where I pictured my life going. It wasn't until I was introduced to art, to dance, to ballet at 13 years old that all of that shifted, and I actually could see possibilities for myself. And it's actually pretty contradictory, I think, because I was often the only Black person, and especially Black girl in my classes growing up in ballet school from the age of 13 to 17. And it wasn't until I became a professional that really all hit me.
And I
that,
do want to talk a lot about that because you are really, really just upfront. I mean, in your books about about your past and your upbringing and the challenges that you face. And the reason I want to start at the top is because I don't know if all of our delegation, as I call the listeners, I don't know if we all understand really what it means, what the American Ballet Theatre is, what the institution of ballet really is, and what it really means to ascend to where you are. I'm a kid who was a little girl, went to ballet school. Like my mom had this idea, and so I kind of have a sense of what an amazing ascent that is, and so talk a little bit about what it means to be a principal dancer at the American Ballet Theatre and what you actually do in your job.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if most people know this, but, ballet is a European art form, that started in Italy, moved over to France, and then in Russia, and, came to America later. So, they have the top elite companies throughout the world. And within America, American Ballet Theatre is one of the top. It's America's national ballet company. So it's one of the top companies in the world of this very elite art form. There are ranks within companies, and each company has a different system of ranks. But in American Ballet Theatre, you have the corps de ballet, which is the largest body group of dancers that frame the dancers in the center and really create the atmosphere. Then you have the soloists who will be featured, and then you have the principal dancers who will be the lead in the ballet. So that will be the White Swan in Swan Lake or Juliet in Romeo and Juliet. So in the ballet history, it is very rare, very, very rare to see Black women in it. Especially to see Black women reach the ranks of soloists or principal dancers. So my promotion to principal dancer, I was the first to ever receive that title in ABT's 75-year history. I was the only Black woman in ABT for the first decade of my career. There still hasn't been a female principal ballerina at New York City Ballet, at the Bolshoi Ballet, at the Paris Opera Ballet. So it's very rare to reach these heights. I think especially coming from where I came from.
Yeah, it's quite astounding, really. And I think you make the distinction. A lot of us don't understand the difference between Alvin Ailey and ABT.
Absolutely, and that's a very important one because often I think people think that space of Black dancer has been filled when they say, well, there are Black bodies on stage. You have the, Alvin Ailey, and there is a huge difference between modern dance and classical ballet. For one, modern dancers don't have the same obstacles as Black people coming into classical ballet. You don't have the same expectations of aesthetic. Where you're expected to have a certain body type, which has been a very easy way for this art form to use this coded language to exclude Black and brown bodies by saying, kind of lumping all Black and brown people into one category as to what their bodies are like, and then getting away with it, by saying this is the aesthetic you have to be in ballet. But modern dance has been very open to different ethnicities and body types and cultures, whereas ballet is not.
Right. So
it's a very, very different experience.
I kind of feel like for music fans, you could liken it to jazz or classical music, right? Jazz,
absolutely.
Don't be surprised if you see a whole bunch of Black folks in jazz, but when
exactly.
you go to the symphony, it might not be quite the same.
Exactly, and I make that point with one of the profiles of the 27 Black ballerinas in my book, Black Ballerinas, with Alicia Graf Mack, where, when Dance Theater of Harlem went under, and was not on the stage for, I think, maybe 14 years or something like that, a lot of these Black dancers had nowhere to go. These elite companies were not taking Black dancers, and a lot of them had to literally relearn to dance in order to get a job. I know Alicia Graf Mack had some background in other forms, but she was a classically trained principal ballerina with Dance Theater of Harlem, and she ended up going into Alvin Ailey as a modern dancer in order to have a successful career and make, money to survive. And that would be like, someone picking up a completely different genre of art or music, going from being a saxophone player to being a drummer or something like that in the midst of their professional career. Like, it's unheard of. And these are the things that are expected of Black people in the dance world.
The book is Black Ballerinas, My Journey to Our Legacy. One of my sayings on the show is the sisterhood is real. And I feel like this book embodies that, although it's geared toward younger readers. Honestly, I love this book. I'm learning so much from it, and I'm like interested in ballet and dance. So I think we can give it to each other for birthdays and holidays. Black Ballerinas, My Journey to Our Legacy. Want to talk about that. I do want to talk about your journey, because it's unusual. You rose. It might not seem fast to others, but if you follow ballet, very fast. And I want to talk about how you rose, not just fast in ballet, but rose above the challenges of your young life here in the Southland, at least for much of it. It's KBLA Talk 1580. We're talking with Misty Copeland, and we've got a lot to talk about.
Be sure to follow and subscribe to all our socials at KBLA Talk 1580 on Facebook, Twitter, and IG. Stay in touch with us by downloading the all-new KBLA Talk 1580 app on your smartphone. Carry the combo wherever you go. And keep it locked to the only talk station that gives you a voice. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about. Thanks for starting your morning off with a voice that speaks truth to power and the powerless, getting to the heart of what matters most in our community. This is where authentic conversation meets real action. From breaking news and politics to culture and community solutions, this is where you hear perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. This is where we come together, get informed, and make change happen. You're inside First Things First with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
You make my day. All the women who independent, throw your hands up at me.
This March, we're turning up the volume on the women who changed everything. KBLA Talk 1580 is proud to celebrate Women's History Month, honoring the trailblazers, truth tellers, and game changers who shaped our world, our culture, and our community. From the freedom fighters to the firsts, from the boardroom to the front lines, from the unsung to the unforgettable. All month long, we're celebrating the stories, the voices, and the conversations that remind us that women, Black women, have always led the way. Don't miss a moment. This is our moment. This is our story. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580, Los Angeles' home for the conversations that matter.
I'm your girl, you're my girl, we're your girls. Won't you know that we love you?
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DePrima right now.
Right now, it is my honor to interview Misty Copeland. She is an author, multiple best-selling author. The latest book, Black Ballerinas, My Journey to Our Legacy, and she is a principal dancer for the American Ballet Theatre. First Black woman in their 75-year history to ascend to that position. And just to be clear, we talked about, how elite that is and how rare it is for a black person of any gender to succeed in that space. Just to be clear, you've danced all around the world. You've danced many, many different pieces, and you have also done the pop culture thing with, the Grammys and all kinds of other appearances. Just give us a sense of some of your highlight moments from your perspective of your success.
No, wow. I mean, just the opportunity to be in an elite company is a dream. I mean, the experiences you get as an artist, as a person, as a human, as someone, I left the country for the first time when I was, because we don't see ourselves. And, it's taken 25 years literally of me being a part of the ballet world and community, doing the research, whether it's just word of mouth, meeting people, hearing stories of other Black dancers. That's literally been how we found out about our history within ballet. And it's just been an incredible journey and one I never expected.
Well, and you've done the work. I mean, I thought I tracked Black people in ballet, and I was like, ooh, no, you don't. Because you point out, I mean, you highlight 27 women here, and you point out that this is not a comprehensive list, but certainly
right.
You did the research to highlight these women.
Yes, these are women that have really been a part of my journey. And there are some younger up-and-coming dancers. I didn't want to exclude them. I didn't want this just to be about the dancers whose shoulders I stand on, but the dancers who are going to continue on these legacies, the dancers who are our future, that will, keep the ballet world thriving and continue to be representation for the next generation of Black and brown girls. But it's like you said, not a comprehensive list, but there are so many incredible Black women who have contributed to the ballet culture in ways that, we just don't often hear about. I even think about, and a lot of these dancers, back in the 40s and the 50s and 60s that weren't given an opportunity to stand on the same stage as white dancers, but they did so much work behind the scenes, that they were teachers. I think of the story of Marion Sujette, who was a very fair-skinned woman in Philadelphia, and she was sneaking into these white elite ballet schools, getting top-notch training, and then taking it back to her community and teaching Black and brown dancers who have gone on to dance everywhere and now are teachers of other Black dancers. And that, to me, is such a part of the ballet history and legacy for us that is so important to know about.
I love that you include, like you said, the younger dancers, including Erica Lal of ABT. A lot of people would say, well, there's 2 Black girls there, and you wouldn't expect
there's
one.
3 actually.
3 now.
But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You wouldn't expecting one to be uplifting, the other.
Right.
I mean, you're at the top of your game. You don't have to do that.
It's so vital. It only hurts us when we're not there to support one another. And I understand that journey, though. I understand what it's been like in the past, and I understand that there's often literally only one spot for us. A lot of these white elite companies that, have to fill their diversity quota, and they think, I have this one person, that's all that I need to do. That, and more often than not, that's a very fair-skinned Black woman or a biracial Black woman who can blend. They could put some powder on and blend in with the company. But, I think that it's important for us to stick together and support one another. And it's been so important for me to mentor the girls that I see around me, or the Black boys, especially, that I see around me, to uplift them and let them know that we are more powerful when we are together. And in this time, especially after George Floyd and through the pandemic, the ballet world has really evolved in a way I never imagined they would have gotten to in such a short period of time. And to have the community behind the scenes having these real conversations, where I've been having these for my whole career for 20 years, but other people are speaking up and feeling the confidence to do that. And that is progress to me.
Yeah, I love that you say that the whole anti-racist movement, the protests around George Floyd's killing made a difference in your artistic world as well.
Mm-hmm. yeah, I think people from the outside might be like, really? It's been mind blowing to me to experience it. To even have people from overseas reaching out to me in these big companies and big schools and finally putting in the effort, the real work, and saying, what do we need to do? And these are some of the most basic conversations that I think a lot of people might get frustrated with, that I can't believe this is how far behind we are. But the fact that people are even showing interest and want to make change, that's what I've been waiting for. But it is pretty incredible to have these conversations for the first time. Again, I've been having these conversations very publicly. I've been having them behind the scenes with people within the institution of ballet, especially at American Ballet Theatre. But to have the entire company involved and invested in having these open dialogues is mind-blowing to me.
It's amazing, and it's encouraging because it reminds us that, just we don't always see all the impacts of the work that's done. Right. You also talk about Victoria Rowell being a mentor to you, and I kind of knew she danced, but I kind of more know her as like the soap opera lady,
That's how people know her. Yeah, her story is so common, I would say, within the Black ballet community, especially of a woman from her generation. Victoria Rowell started out as a classical dancer. She was in American Ballet Theatre studio company, which is like a small troupe that they're gearing up to become professionals within ABT or in other companies. And once she got to a certain point, they wouldn't take her into the company. And that happens so often that, you kind of get to that point where you're going to make it into the big company and the color of your skin holds you back. And so that's when Victoria went into modeling and eventually into acting and became who she became in her incredible career. But she, this is why it's so important to support one another. I've had this along the way, and I wouldn't be where I am without the incredible journey of the sisterhood I've had. Victoria Rowell, I think I was about 20 years old, 19 or 20, and she found out ABT was going to be performing in Hollywood. She literally wrote a note, pinned it to the board at the stage door entrance for me to call her. And I sat in her house as a 19-year-old, and we talked all night about her journey as a Black ballerina. And it was like really the first time that I sat down and shared words with another Black woman who really walked in my shoes. And to have that support and guidance in some way was huge for me, where I felt alone. I was the only Black woman in the company, and it was incredible to have that support.
And, it is funny because we see you, as a superstar, and yet you're not afraid to speak out. And you said that even though you've dealt with micro and macro aggressions and all of the obstacles within that classical world of ballet, you were raised being very grounded in your Blackness.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I mean, and not everyone has this experience, and that's what's been so fascinating too about kind of diving in a little deeper to all of these stories, is that Black people, we're not a monolith. We don't all come from the hood and don't have money and have this same experience of being given opportunities and being so thankful by the white man, to have, like, that's not everyone's experience. And for me personally, though, I think that has been the fact that race was an open conversation in my household from the time I can remember. That helped me to have a better grasp on how I wanted to approach my career once I entered into this very white world, which I had no idea I would be a part of. Coming from Los Angeles, California, I'm biracial, but my mom was like, to all of us 6 kids, when you walk out of that house, you're Black. That's how you're going to be treated. That's how you're going to be seen. And so that was, a title I held very proudly. Like, that was my identity. And then Ballerina sort of took over, but then the real world hit when I, became a professional, and it was like, wow, like every word my mom spoke is exactly true. And it was crazy to move to New York City. It's a very diverse place with so much culture. And I spent 8 hours a day surrounded by only white people in a rehearsal studio. That was a lot to handle.
Yeah. Ballet is hard work. I mean, I think people see you and you look so beautiful and floaty and everything. I went to ballet school long enough to know this. You're an athlete. I mean, training at a level that many athletes in other sports don't even think of. There's not really an off season. You're pretty much training and staying fit all the time. And usually they start at age 2 or something like that.
Right.
And you started later and were able to be successful.
Yeah, it's been also important for me, you know, to bring that awareness to the broader world. You know, I think when people have more of an understanding of the inside workings of something, then they feel more connected to it. And I think that throughout history, you know, ballet has done a very good job of making it this very like elusive thing. You know, it's the magic that you don't let people know about behind the curtain. So it looks so effortless and like we're doing nothing. And I think in this day and age, people want to see behind the scenes. They want to see the work that's put in. They want to connect to these things. And, you know, I'm so grateful, you know, my partnership for many years with Under Armour definitely gave me a platform to be able to showcase that through the commercials. You didn't see me in a tutu looking prim and proper. You saw me with my muscles out and working and training the same way a professional athlete does. But then you add on the acting aspect. You know, it's like putting a top-notch athlete with an A-list actor and putting those things together. And it's nonstop work.
We just have about 60 seconds before news, but what do you attribute your ability to move so quickly? I mean, they call you a prodigy. Is it God's grace, or is it just you outworked everybody?
You know, I think I was born to do this. You know, there was something interesting. I think that all of the things that I was afraid of, and that you know, being shy and being introverted and being such a hard worker, because I just felt that I couldn't fail. I couldn't let my mom down. I couldn't, you know, there was just so much I felt that I created, that I put on my shoulders. But all of those things that I thought were negative attributes worked very positively for me in the ballet world. I just never stopped working, but I enjoyed the work and I enjoyed the journey. And I think that's something that a lot of athletes can say. You know, it's about enjoying the process and the journey. Misty
Copeland is our guest, KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Repairs are underway at Temple Israel in West Bloomfield, Michigan, after a man rammed his truck into the synagogue before taking his own life. Jewish Family Service and Common Grounds are offering counseling.
Built this crisis response team years ago, kind of like building a fire truck, hoping you never have to use the fire truck.
Free drop-in support is available all week. A federal judge in Boston has blocked Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s bid to overhaul U.S. vaccine policy, ruling the proposed cuts to childhood vaccinations and changes to a federal advisory panel would harm public health. The decision voids his recent committee votes and appointments. And Kiki Shepard, best known as the longtime co-host of Showtime at the Apollo, has died at 74 after a sudden heart attack in Los Angeles. Fans and colleagues are remembering her as a cultural icon whose work on stage and screen left a lasting impact. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Now is the time to save on an award-winning Nissan at the Nissan Now sales event, featuring the Rogue, Pathfinder, Frontier, and more. Don't wait. These offers are going fast. Shop your Southern California Nissan dealers and NissanUSA.com today.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Congratulations to HBCU Howard University. The men's basketball team won the first NCAA tournament game in school history. Howard defeated Maryland Baltimore County 86-83 Tuesday night in the play-in round in Dayton, Ohio. Howard, champions of the MEAC Conference, was 0-4 in the NCAA tournament before Tuesday night. Bryce Harris, a senior guard from Brentwood, New York, led Howard with 19 points and 14 rebounds. Howard advances to a first-round matchup Thursday in Buffalo against Michigan, the number 1 seed in the Midwest Regional. 4 p.m. tip-off local time, live coverage on CBS. Prairie View A&M, champions of the SWAC Conference, has their play-in game today against Lehigh. 3:30 p.m. tip-off for this one, live coverage on True TV. The Lakers are at Houston tonight. The Lakers are going for their 7th straight win. The Clippers are at New Orleans tonight. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Heading out of town this spring? Metro makes getting to LAX easier than ever. Just take the C or K train lines to the new LAX Metro Transit Center. Then catch a free shuttle straight to your terminal. Easy, affordable, stress-free. Travel smart. Go Metro.
Hi, I'm Dominique DePrima, KBLA Talk 1580 host and African Focus Incorporated cultural ambassador. You probably know by now that every year our two organizations team up to lead a trip to the motherland. This June will be our 8th African Focus Trailblazers Tour, and it's not too late to join us. But if you've been thinking of going with us, now is the time to sign on before prices go up. Our current deadline is March 20th. Join us as we travel to a country widely considered one of Africa's most underrated destinations, Zambia, home to the towering Victoria Falls and the bustling capital city, Lusaka. Enjoy a visit to Botswana, known for its pristine natural beauty and stunning southern African wildlife. We travel in comfort with luxury accommodations, a variety of fun activities, and delicious dining. We do service with charitable work at a school and an orphanage, and we expand our horizons with cultural and historical excursions. To sign up now before our March 20th deadline, please call African Focus Incorporated at 310-676-7300. That's 310-676-7300. Or check out africanfocus.org. Whether it's in the community or traveling the globe, we move as family. African Focus and KBLA Talk 1580. Let's go.
We knew you'd stick around. This is LA's home for progressive talk radio. Welcome back to KBLA Talk 1580.
Okay, I'm talking with Misty Copeland. She is an author and an accomplished ballerina, one of the world's most, history's most. The book is Black Ballerinas, My Journey to Our Legacy. I'm laughing, Misty Copeland, because I've been in this business a long time, and I rarely fangirl out. And I'm over here fangirling out over you. I'm sorry. I'm being a big, giant dork, but I'm really, really excited that you're on the show.
Thank you.
And you in your book Life in Motion, An Unlikely Ballerina, which is like your memoir, you are incredibly candid about being unsheltered at times, about being coming up on food stamps and the hardships that you went through as a child with domestic violence. I mean, so many of the things that so many of us young people of color deal with. You don't try to gloss it over now that you're this international superstar.
Yeah, I mean, all of those things have made me me, and given me the perspective that I have. And it's writing my memoir. I was 29 years old when I wrote that book, and it was so cathartic and so healing to let go of this idea that I am my surroundings, or I am my circumstances, and that I can't be more than that, or that it was my fault that I was in those situations. And I think every person and child should understand that, our possibilities and futures don't end at the circumstances we're in, that, there's so much possibility out there if you find the right support system and path for yourself.
And you're also very outspoken about not only within your own family, but also in the industry, the shadeism. The fact that that we, because my mom is also Italian-American, as lighter-skinned Black women do have light-skin privilege.
Absolutely. Yeah. Colorism is a very real thing in ballet, as it is in the world. It was important for me to make sure that I sought out and include, darker skinned women to put in this book. Lauren Anderson, Ashley Murphy. There have been so many incredible dark skinned women who, have been a part of this legacy as well. But it's clearly, again, being a very white and European art form. It's been an easier way for them to say, okay, these people could possibly blend in if they're, fairer skinned, but it hasn't been equal opportunity for all people of color to come into this field. And I think it's important that we acknowledge it. Michaela DePrince, is one that's at incredible heights in her career right now, and she's a darker skinned woman with an incredible story. But it's important that we shine a light on those stories as well, because their fight is not the same as mine. But I think it's important that I acknowledge that. But it's also, hopefully the work I'm doing will break that door down and make it a little bit easier for the next generation, for all colors and shades of Black and brown people.
That said, as a Black woman in ballet, I love the fact that you, on the one hand, you're willing to pay the cost to call out blackface in the ballet world. I know you took some backlash for that. But on the other hand, you still are like celebrating the fact that we're finally getting tights and shoes that match our shade of Black, whatever it might be.
Yeah, it's so fascinating, and there's no linear way, I think, to go about tackling all of the issues within the ballet community. You're still dealing with ballet companies performing in blackface, which just sounds crazy in this day and age, that that's even a conversation that needs to be had. But then you have, these very subtle microaggressions that have existed from the beginning of time. The color of the pink tights that are part of the uniform, you could say, for classical dance. The color is called European pink. If that doesn't make you feel that you can't be a part of this, then I don't know what will, in very subtle ways, where the color of the tights and the color of the shoes, the slippers and the point shoes are supposed to be an extension of your own body, and that's not everyone's skin color. So, the fact that just a couple of weeks ago I went to see American Ballet Theatre performing in their fall season, and I saw Erica Lal in the second act of Giselle, which is considered a white ballet, where, everyone in the second act is in white and their pink tights, and Erica had on her skin-colored tights and skin-colored point shoes. And it was this visceral reaction that I saw her as a person. I saw her as an individual for the first time. And though we are dancing in unison in the corps de ballet, we're still individuals up there creating that illusion.
Yes. I love that you're able to, even while you're dealing, being really unapologetic about confronting racism, the microaggressions, at the same time you separate the art of ballet and its timeless, form from the politics of ballet.
Yeah, it's so fascinating to me that when I entered into the ballet world, I felt for the first time like I'm a part of something bigger than me. I'm a part of something with so much history. I think coming from a family where my mother's adopted, I'm biracial, we don't know a lot of our background. And I've never felt, other than like my Black community, I felt a part of. But as Black Americans, like how much of our history do we really know and feel a part of? And there was something about ballet that felt so grand and big, like, wow, I'm stepping into this incredible thing. But then, what I think is at the root of what I'm connecting to is the ballet technique. The ballet technique, and I've said this before, is not racist. This is an incredible technique that to this day has not changed. In 400 years, we haven't changed the way we approach the technique of classical ballet. Now, what has become racist and, people's opinions and things coming in are the people that have been a part of it and that have evolved the culture over time. But I can't think of another art form where the technique has not shifted and changed in 400 years, and that's something special, I think, to be a part of.
Something so beautiful.
Yeah, it is. It's that to me is the purity that people talk about when they say ballet, though it can often come off, and maybe some people's intentions are the whiteness is the purity, but to me that's not what I see. I see this beautiful technique that anybody can do, any body type, any culture. And what's so beautiful about it is everyone has a different interpretation because of your background, because of the form that you have. And that, to me, is what's just so incredible about it and why it should be more diversified in the people who are participating.
And that's what captivated little Misty Copeland when you said you started being caught up in gymnastics and then found your way to dance, right?
Yes, well, I actually had never done, I'd never done anything active, really. I wasn't a part of any team, any extracurricular activity. Again, in my household, it was like survival mode. But I fell in love with watching gymnastics, at the Olympics. I remember there was this Lifetime movie about a gymnast named Nadia Comaneci. And I believe she was the first gymnast to score a perfect 10 in the Olympics. They created that for her. And I became obsessed with this, watching the floor exercises. And I didn't realize until I started ballet that I was drawn to this thing I'd never seen. I'd never seen ballet, but there was something about this lyrical free movement that the gymnasts were doing in their floor exercises. And it's just so fascinating to kind of trace that back and think, why was I drawn to this? My only experience of seeing movement and dance was watching BET or VH1 or MTV, music videos. So it was why in my mind was that something that I wanted to be a part of? It's very interesting.
When we continue this conversation with Misty Copeland, we'll dive into Black Ballerinas, My Journey to Our Legacy, a little bit about her journey to this incredible document that codifies our history in this space. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back. We are rooting for everybody black. KBLA Talk 1580.
Our guest today for the Daily Deep Dive is Misty Copeland. She is an author, multiple author. She also made history as the first female African-American principal dancer at the American Ballet Theatre. The most recent book is called Black Ballerinas, My Journey to Our Legacy. It is out right now. Such a beautiful book, Misty. Just the illustrations. It's just done with so much love. Definitely something that we could share with any young black boy or girl that we wanted to encourage. But also, I think adults would love it too. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Talina Barnes, the illustrator, had an unbelievable, perspective, and I thought it was really important that a person of color was drawing these black bodies, and she just had a beautiful way of seeing all of these dancers. And, the aesthetic and our line and proportions are so important, when capturing the essence of movement. But I agree. It was really difficult, this kind of making it geared for a younger audience, that middle grade audience. When you're diving into, such important topics, race is the thread between all of these stories. It was important though that I was honest and very clear about these people's experiences and not just sugarcoating it. I think it was my first edit that I read through all of this, and I was like, this is kind of sad. We got to find a good balance, that we're being honest and we're telling all these dancers truths, but also the beauty that they gained from being a part of this and the amazing legacies they've left behind. And
their artistry is very well documented. I think I heard you quoted somewhere saying, if we don't capture this history, it can be erased.
Absolutely. I think it has been. I think that, when Raven Wilkinson, who was featured in the book, a mentor of mine, she was the first black ballerina to dance with the Ballet Russe de Monte Carlo, an elite company that's no longer around. But when she came into my life, it was like, some people here and there knew of her story. The fact that she faced things I can't even imagine. She pretty much left the United States to dance in Europe because the KKK were threatening her life on any stages that she danced in within, the United States, especially, in the South. But having her in my life, it just reminded me of how important it is for us to uplift the people whose shoulders we stand on and who open these doors for us, and to impart that knowledge for the next generation to be able to continue to carry on these stories, because it will get erased. You know, there's Nora Kimball, who was a soloist in American Ballet Theatre, a Black woman, and I had no idea who she was, and I danced in this company. And when I was promoted to soloist, I remember the LA Times in particular, because that's my hometown, making this huge splash, Misty Copeland, the first Black female soloist at American Ballet Theatre. And a dancer in the company who was, you know, an older dancer said, actually, there was a Black woman named Nora Kimball who was the first. And I'm like, how do I not know this information? I couldn't Google it. I couldn't find this anywhere. And it's like it just slowly gets left behind. And before we know it, it's like it didn't even happen.
When we continue this conversation, we'll have just a few minutes before we pass the mic to Tavis Smiley. I want to ask you about your fearlessness. Where does that come from? And how you would like to see your legacy. The book is Black Ballerinas, My Journey to Our Legacy. And look, unless you are some kind of amazing historian sleuth, I don't care how old you are, you're going to learn something from this book. I know I am. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
We know you have options, but thank you for making the best choice. The only station in LA of the people, by the people, for the people. We are unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Michael's Daughter Foundation is dedicated to inspiring youth and resilience through storytelling, arts, filmmaking, and enrichment programs for youth and families in under-resourced communities and system-impacted individuals. The Michael's Daughter Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit providing free and low-cost arts programs to youth and families from under-resourced communities, both system-impacted youth and those affected by the incarceration of a loved one. 1 in 43 children in America have a parent incarcerated. 70% of those children are expected to end up in prison. Through filmmaking, animation, theater, and writing, they help young people express themselves, build confidence, and imagine new possibilities. Beyond the arts, they offer financial literacy workshops, emergency support, and scholarships. Because thriving takes more than talent, it takes access. To learn more about the impact of Michael Daughters Foundation and how you can be a part of the movement, please visit their website, michaelsdaughterfoundation.com. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Warning, evacuation in progress. Leave the building.
It's a total takeover.
That's what I want.
On Friday, March 27th, KBLA Talk 1580 belongs to the women.
Are you ready?
All day long, from 6 in the morning to midnight, the mic belongs to powerful, accomplished women, and we are not letting go. Nothing but the voices of women who inspire, challenge, and move us forward. It's the women of KBLA Talk 1580, sun up to sundown. I'm Dominique DePrima, and I'll anchor the day with a 3-hour live panel from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. on the state of Black women in LA, followed by women talking to women all day long about the issues that matter most. Our hosts for the day include Jill Monroe, Adrian Shropshire, Dr. Melina Abdullah, Angela Reddick Wright, Raquel Graham, Angelique Francis, Tasha Thomas, Dr. Shalonda Crawford, Dion Raymond, and featuring special guest hosts Santita Jackson and Amanda Seals. This is Women's History Month, and we're not just celebrating it, we're amplifying it. Join us Friday, March 27th on KBLA Talk 1580, where women take over all day, all night. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 and all of our socials for the rundown. You don't want to miss a single word. And happy Women's History Month from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
To my ladies.
I'll show you how to work that.
Go.
You are the bomb.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt? Angela was. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $80,000. Felicia was having health problems, got behind on her taxes, interest and penalties were adding up. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $15,000. Civic Tax Relief is a professional tax negotiation firm that can protect you from the IRS. If you're getting collection letters, call Civic Tax Relief for a free consultation. They will go to work helping you discover all the relief programs you may qualify for free. James James owed the IRS $37,000. Civic tax relief represented him against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, he did not owe the IRS anything. If you are in trouble with the IRS, call Civic Tax Relief for your free consultation now. 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257. Get a free consultation and real tax relief. Call 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for voting rights. The midterm election campaign season is here now. The 2028 presidential election is right around the corner. When We All Vote is a leading national nonpartisan initiative on a mission to change the culture around voting and to increase participation in each and every election by helping to close the race and age gap. Created by Michelle Obama, When We All Vote brings together individuals, institutions, brands, and organizations to register new voters across the country and advance civic education for the entire family and voters of every age to build an informed and engaged electorate for today and generations to come. When We All Vote empowers their supporters and volunteers to take action through voting, advocating for their rights, and holding their elected officials accountable. It's all in for 2026 and 2028. Please visit whenweallvote.org to stand up for your rights, voting rights. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm Dominique DePrima, KBLA Talk 1580 host and African Focus Incorporated cultural ambassador. You probably know by now that every year our two organizations team up to lead a trip to the motherland. This June will be our 8th African Focus Trailblazers Tour, and it's not too late to join us. But if you've been thinking of going with us, now is the time to sign on before prices go up. Our current deadline is March 20th. Join us as we travel to a country widely considered one of Africa's most underrated destinations, Zambia, home to the towering Victoria Falls and the bustling capital city, Lusaka. Enjoy a visit to Botswana, known for its pristine natural beauty and stunning southern African wildlife. We travel in comfort with luxury accommodations, a variety of fun activities, and delicious dining. We do service with charitable work at a school and an orphanage, and we expand our horizons with cultural and historical excursions. To sign up now before our March 20th deadline, please call African Focus Incorporated at 310-676-7300. That's 310-676-7300. Or check out africanfocus.org. Whether it's in the community or traveling the globe, we move as family. African Focus and KBLA Talk 1580. Let's go.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
And it is almost time to pass the mic to Tavis Smiley. He'll have a full lineup of interviews for you like he does every day from 9 to noon. Just a few minutes left with Misty Copeland. The book, Black Ballerinas, My Journey to Our Legacy, is out right now. It is a beautiful book, and it is full of history that you more than likely do not know. Very inspiring history at that. Misty Copeland, a lot of times when we are successful in spaces that are primarily white or not inviting to us, we tend to just be happy to be there and show up and shut up. What do you attribute your fearlessness to?
Yeah, I would say in the early stages of, beginning of my life, just seeing my mother persevere and never give up, seeing this strong Black woman that, no matter what the situation was, the circumstances we were in, I never saw her give up. And I think that gave me it was instilled in me that, no matter what it is I'm going through, there's always something worse going on. I think about my experience as a Black dancer in ballet and my experience with American Ballet Theatre. And, I told the story of Raven Wilkinson, and I thought, if she could experience her life being threatened and her art literally being taken away from her and still have love and want to be a part of this, I can definitely do this. And so, that's always been my thought going into everything that I do, is just to persevere and show that strength and set an example for the next generation.
as you have, continue to give back through your work with Boys and Girls Clubs. What do you want your legacy to be? I mean, I know you're still very young and you've got a lot more to do, but how do you see it at this moment?
I've looked at, my life and often thought I never saw the stage as the end goal. I never saw like being on a performing arts, being, on that stage was the end for me. I always saw it as a catalyst to do other things. And I think that I hope my legacy will be sharing the stories of so many people in this very unique field. I hope that it will be a collective legacy of all of us who have contributed to this art form.
And I love that spirit of abundance that you bring, and just in elevating and amplifying the work and artistry of other Black women and Black ballerinas, My Journey to Our Legacy. Amazing work.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yep, I recommend folks pick it up, Black Ballerinas, My Journey to Our Legacy. Misty Copeland, it's really been an honor and a pleasure to talk with you. I'm feeling inspired and very artistic today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been such an honor, and please send my love to Tavis. I haven't seen him in a while.
I absolutely will. He's coming right around the corner right now. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for being on with us. He is coming around the corner. Not the best of. It's not Friday. Tavis Smiley is live right after this. He's got a great show on tap for you. And of course, I will see you on social media at Diprima Radio, DIPRIMA. And then radio, like my mama used to say, history is now. Like I always say, we're making it together. Until tomorrow, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Repairs are underway at Temple Israel in West Bloomfield, Michigan, after a man rammed his truck into the synagogue before taking his own life. Jewish Family Service and Common Grounds are offering counseling.
Built this crisis response team years ago, kind of like built-in fire truck, hoping you never have to use the fire truck.
Free drop-in support is available all week. A federal judge in Boston has blocked Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s bid to overhaul U.S. vaccine policy, ruling the proposed cuts to childhood vaccinations and changes to a federal advisory panel would harm public health. The decision voids his recent committee votes and appointments. And Kiki Shepard, best known as the longtime co-host of Showtime at the Apollo, has died at 74 after a sudden heart attack in Los Angeles. Fans and colleagues are remembering her as a cultural icon whose work on stage and screen left a lasting impact. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Now is the time to save on an award-winning Nissan at the Nissan Now sales event, featuring the Rogue, Pathfinder, Frontier, and more. Don't wait. These offers are going fast. Shop your Southern California Nissan dealers and NissanUSA.com today.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Congratulations to HBCU Howard University. The men's basketball team won the first NCAA tournament game in school history. Howard defeated Maryland-Baltimore County 86-83 Tuesday night in the play-in round in Dayton, Ohio. Howard, champions of the MEAC Conference, was 0-4 in the NCAA tournament before Tuesday night. Bryce Harris, a senior guard from Brentwood, New York, led Howard with 19 points and 14 rebounds. Howard advances to a first-round matchup Thursday in Buffalo against Michigan, the number 1 seed in the Midwest Regional. 4 p.m. tip-off local time, live coverage on CBS. Prairie View A&M, champions of the SWAC Conference, has their play-in game today against Lehigh. 3:30 p.m. tip-off for this one, live coverage on True TV. The Lakers are at Houston tonight. The Lakers are going for their 7th straight win. The Clippers are at New Orleans tonight. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Warning, evacuation in progress. Leave the building.
It's a total takeover.
That's what I want.
On Friday, March 27th, KBLA Talk 1580 belongs to the women.
Are you ready?
All day long, from 6 in the morning to midnight, the mic belongs to powerful, accomplished women, and we are not letting go. Nothing but the voices of women who inspire, challenge, and move us forward. It's the women of KBLA Talk 1580, sun up to sundown. I'm Dominique DePrima, and I'll anchor the day with a 3-hour live panel from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. on the state of black women in LA, followed by women talking to women all day long about the issues that matter most. Our hosts for the day include Jill Monroe, Adrian Shropshire, Dr. Melina Abdullah, Angela Reddick Wright, Raquel Graham, Angelique Francis, Tasha Thomas, Dr. Shalonda Crawford, Dion Raymond, and featuring special guest hosts Santita Jackson and Amanda Seals. This is Women's History Month, and we're not just celebrating it, we're amplifying it. Join us Friday, March 27th on KBLA Talk 1580, where women take over all day, all night. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 and all of our socials for the rundown. You don't want to miss a single word. And happy Women's History Month from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
To my ladies,
You sure know how to work that.
You are the bomb.
1, 2, 3, go! I'm gonna try to keep it coming. Things ain't always smooth, but I'll be alright as long as I can find the good. Yes, I will. Yeah. Somehow I know that I can make it. You seem like my style. Now, don't you worry, I'm gonna be around a while. Yes, I will. I'm just happy to see you talk to me back in style again.
Live from historic Leimert Park in Los Angeles, California, I'm Tavis Smiley, and I'm so glad to see you and me. Back in stride again. Before we get started with today's show, let me invite you to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Real Tavis Smiley, and get updates on X, that's formerly Twitter, at Tavis Smiley. By the way, should you miss any part of today's program or want to catch up on previous shows, you can always visit thetavismiley.com. That's thetavismiley.com, or wherever you get your podcast, and listen to the Tavis Smiley podcast version of this live program at your leisure. Another great show on tap for you today in our second hour. If you are a black American, or any American, but certainly African American of a certain age, when you hear that theme song from Quincy Jones, you know exactly what we're talking about. Anne Haley Brown, or as I call her, Anne Murray Palmer Haley Brown, invoking all the names in her rich family legacy, comes live in studio to celebrate the 50th, can you believe it? The 50th anniversary of the transformative work about her family by Alex Haley, Roots, the Saga of an American Family. Love that theme song by Q, and look forward to talking to Anne Murray Palmer Haley Brown. About 50 years since the publication of Roots, the Saga of an American Family. We'll do all that for the hour in our second hour. In our third hour, two conversations. Up first, Melissa Segura, senior, she's still there, senior U.S. investigative reporter for The Guardian and host of the limited podcast series Off Duty. The series looks at the murder of a police officer 15 years ago and how the quest for justice for that officer turned into a nightmare for 4 young black men wronged by the system. It is sadly a familiar story in this place called America, but this limited podcast series, Off Duty, is pretty provocative, and we'll talk to Melissa about it on the top side of our 3. On the B side of our 3, Jasmine Burney Clark, founder of Equal Ground, unpacks the latest attack on ballot access in Florida and how this drama may be coming to a state near you soon. But we commence today's show in a moment talking politics and more with the executive editor of The Nation magazine, our friend and brother John Nichols. Before John comes on the line, a quick update about the primary in Illinois yesterday. We discussed this yesterday. In fact, you recall Carol Mosley Braun was on this program yesterday. It was yesterday years ago, 1992. That Carol Mosley Braun made history winning that historic primary in Illinois and later going on to win in the state of Illinois and becoming the first black woman ever in this republic to serve, to be elected to the United States Senate. So we had Carol Mosley Braun on this program for an hour yesterday, half hour yesterday, talking about that historic day yesterday, years ago in 92. Prior to Carol Mosley Braun being on this program, we had the 2 black women on this program who were running for that Senate seat for the retiring Dick Durbin in the land of Lincoln, Juliana Stratton, the lieutenant governor, running for that seat, and Robin Kelly, a member of the Congressional Black Caucus, a member of the House, running for that seat. Turns out that the lieutenant governor, Juliana Stratton, won that race yesterday. And so she is now poised to win this race in November. Anything can happen, but in Illinois, she seems poised now to win that seat come November. And there will be another black woman potentially serving in the United States Senate. That's a big deal, sitting another black woman. So how timely it was to have Carol Mosley Braun on yesterday when Juliana Stratton handled her business yesterday. Wins that primary and is, again, now positioned to be in the United States Senate, and that would be nice to see another black woman in the United States Senate. Jesse Jackson Jr., who was making a bid to return to the House. So Robin Kelly, for the last 13 years, had the seat that Jesse gave up when he left Congress. And, of course, he's been very open about it. Went to prison, served his time, and has done some amazing work since then. He's a colleague of mine here on this radio station, in L.A. at least, KBLA. We're heard across the country. For that, as I always say, I'm grateful. My colleague here in KBLA, he lost his attempt to return to the House yesterday. And a lot of money, millions of dollars, were poured in that race by AIPAC, to be exact, to make sure that he did not win that seat. And AIPAC picks off another one. So Jesse Jackson Jr. loses his bid to return to the House yesterday in Illinois. J.B. Pritzker, the governor, is trying to do something that only a few governors have done, win a third term